L'Jarius Sneed is again in the news, and not for a good reason. I have a feeling he might never play for the Tennessee Titans ever again. Also, two Titans that have to step up as we're going past the bye week, and this week they take on the Houston Texans. Welcome in to Titans Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Brett Alper, but let's start with L'Jarius Sneed news. And it came from Paul Kaharski. I saw it on my Twitter, and he has been indicted in Dallas, Texas for failure to report a felony. And we'll get into all the details, but I will say Sneed was not the one committing the felony. It's only a misdemeanor, but I have a feeling that this is going to just lead into some more problems for L'Jarius Sneed, and the Titans do not want to deal with this. And this is why you subscribe to the channel. When Titans news breaks, like the L'Jarius Sneed news, and we'll talk about all the details coming up, but that's why you subscribe, because we got you covered here on Titans Today. When stuff happens, we make a video. All throughout the trade deadline last week, we had you covered, from the Draymond Jones trade to the Roger McCreary to the Jarvis Brownlee Jr. So join over 11,000 fans and join Titans Today. Let's talk about it. So instead of giving you guys the whole entire article, Polymarket Football, they had a perfect tweet just kind of describing the exact details with L'Jarius Sneed. He was indicted by a grand jury by failing to report a felony. Sneed was with the car with his personal assistant, and I'm not going to say that name because I'm going to botch it, but Warmek opened fire on a nearby G-Wagon. Sneed faces a 1 year in prison, and that's if convicted, and or a $4,000 fine. The situation with Sneed and the Titans just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. I think we saw about this situation happen last year, and they kind of blew over it. Nothing really built off of it, but well, with the Titans, it's just not been the greatest tender. I will say that he says he's no longer associated with the suspect. Paul Kaharski reported that he is not associated with it. He doesn't talk to his personal assistant anymore, and he is kind of just completely putting this to the wayside, enough to where he's getting indicted for a failure to report a felony. With the Titans, though, Sneed has not lived up to par. They traded away a third-round pick for him and signed him to over a $70 million contract. And since then, he played in 5 out of 17 games in 2024. 7 out of 9 games this season. He's currently on IR, and now he's being indicted in Dallas. It's been an absolute disaster. When the Titans were getting him, the time that he had in Kansas City, he was an absolute great player. But since then, he's been injury-prone, his attitude has not been right, and ultimately, it hasn't helped the Titans. It's more hurt the Titans than helped them. This is his entire Titans career. With 2 seasons, 12 games played, 26 tackles, only 3 PBUs, 0 interceptions, and a PFF grade, one of the worst in the NFL the last 2 years. Specifically this season, he has been bad, 43.4. And we haven't seen him in the last couple of games. You could hear from Rap Sheet right here on October 23rd. The Titans placed L'Jarius Sneed on injured reserve, knocking him out for 4 games. And he didn't say the when he would come back, just he was dealing with a quad injury. And last year he was dealing with a quad injury. During the summer, he had surgery on his knee. It was a little cleanup that no one knew about until training camp started. It has just been an absolute disaster. And with all of the stuff that's happening, for his performance, for him being injury prone, and now the legal troubles, I would not be shocked if he doesn't play another snap for the Titans. We know that with Mike Borgonzi and Chad Brinker, they're trying to bring a new culture here. I talked about everything that Borgonzi had in his 20-minute press conference last week. And this is something that they do not want to deal with. They want to bring the Titans back to where they were back in 2019, back in 2021. And it wouldn't cost that much money for the Titans to just get rid of him after the season. I think he's going to miss the rest of the year because obviously they kind of want to play the rookies. That's why they released Quandre Diggs. But if you do cut him after the season, according to Over the Cap, it's only an $8.1 million in dead cap if he's released after the season. This is not that bad. If you compare it to some players like A.J. Brown, it would be a $50 million dead cap. $8.1 million is something that the Titans could eat and just deal with because no one's going to want that contract if you trade him, and no one's going to want to deal with everything that he comes with when you signed him. He's not the same player that we saw for the Chiefs back when he was drafted in 2020 and 2021. So it's kind of a failure. I think that the Titans should just move on from him at this point. I'll ask you guys, though, what would you do with L'Jarius Sneed? Would you cut him or would you keep him? Go down in the comments section right now. Give me a K for keep or give me a C for cut. Coming up on the back half of the show, we're going to talk about some of the Titans that need to have to step up. We're halfway through the season. We're coming off the bye week, and I want to develop this team. So not necessarily tank, but some of the players that have been a little disappointed to start, they got to step it up, specifically with one player and his contract. Before we go and do that, I got to tell you about our sponsor of today's show, and that is PrizePicks. The hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. PrizePicks is simple to play, just being more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if your picks are right, you could cash in. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if your picks don't hit. PrizePicks is the best way to win cash this football season. I made a lineup for this weekend's game, Houston against Tennessee division matchup. I'm going to go with the less for Cam Ward. I think Houston's defense is pretty solid. Give me the less 198.5 passing yards, but the more on Woody Marks and Elike Manor. Woody Marks, 19.5 receiving yards. I like the more on that one with Tennessee's defense, and Elike Manor, the more with 37.5 receiving yards. You can make a lineup just like that one when you download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. Let's kind of talk about the Titans that I really think need to step up. And the biggest one out of all of them has been Dan Moore Jr., your left tackle that you signed to a gigantic contract, and he has been absolute trash. He's not lived up to that contract. Everybody that kind of, when they saw what he signed for, said it was the biggest overpay, and they said it was the worst contract signing of NFL free agency. And it was 4 years, $82 million. And since then, well, everybody that kind of said it has been right. Here are his stats for the 2025 season. 63.1 offensive grade. 63.7 pass blocking grade. Oh, he might be a little bit better in the run blocking. No, 61.7. 7 sacks allowed. And then the worst thing about it, 26 pressures allowed. He is letting defensive ends, edge rushers get to Cam Ward every single play. This is absolutely terrible and not something you spend $82 million for. They were expecting him to be Cam Ward's blind side. And guess what? He's been bad. The 26 pressures that he's allowed this season is the 9th worst in the league. Worse than every single rookie, every single person that you've seen. He has not lived up to his contract, and he has been extremely disappointing. And also, you kind of signed him so J.C. Latham could play on the right side, and that really didn't happen. It's also hurting Cam Ward's quarterback play. When Cam Ward drops back in the pocket, he realizes, oh, well, my left tackle's not doing anything. He's scared, and he's hesitant to throw the ball. He's nervous, and the pocket collapses immediately. And that's also the second person that I think needs to have to step up. I'm not giving it all the blame on Cam Ward because that offensive line is terrible. If you go look at the videos I've done on this channel the past couple of months, you can see specifically against that Raiders game, well, there is no one blocking for him. And I think the some games that he actually gets blocking, it's been good. And then the ones that haven't, it's been bad. Cam Ward's season has been up and down and up and down and up and down, and you really can't assess him through the first 9 games of the season. Completion percentage has gone up through the past couple of weeks. It was almost at like 52%. It's gone up to 57.6%. Not almost 2,000 yards. He's getting there. 5 touchdowns, and he had a streak of interception a game, but he's come that down. But the QB rating, that's got to be better. That has to be better. And Cam Ward also holds the ball a lot longer than he should, and he's on pace for the most sack yards in a season ever. He's not going to beat David Carr's record of getting sacked. That's like 76 sacks, but it's possible if he goes on the same pace that he was doing. Cam Ward is on pace for 72 sacks for 557 yards. The 557 yards would be an NFL record. 72 sacks, I think, would come up just short of breaking the record. I think it would be about second. But you had a bye week to reassess pretty much everything that you did wrong through the first couple of weeks. You have the worst record in the NFL. Maybe you can get up and win a couple of games unless you kind of want to get that first overall pick. But Mike McCoy, their interim head coach, he was kind of talking about how Cam Ward can get better and kind of reassuring him, giving him some extra confidence. And this is what he said. He said, there are some things you can look at from my perspective. There's a number of things I talked to him about. There's constant communication. And the great thing about Cam is he wants to be great. He wants that input on a daily basis. So he wants to get better, and he's going to listen to anybody, whether was Brian Callahan before he got fired, and now it's Mike McCoy. The one thing I do know is that Cam Ward will not give up. He's going to play his heart out. He's going to play his ass off to get better because he sees the light at the end of the tunnel. There's a lot of teams, including the Bears, including, the Patriots, that their second-year quarterback or their first-year quarterback kind of struggled in their rookie year and then bounced back. And if you look at the Titans' remaining schedule, the Jags, the Browns, the Saints, the Jags, those are 4 games where you can actually compete. Maybe even the Texans. I'm not going to say the Seahawks. They look like the best team in football. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and the 49ers, I know they're depleted in injuries, but that's still going to be a tough game. But that Week 17 game, man, it's going to be the Tank Bowl, and we'll see what happens. But I know Cam Ward is going to try and play his best football, and you could see him progressing so far, but hopefully on the back half of the season, he looks a lot better than he did on the first half. What's your confidence level in Cam Ward? Scale it for me down in the comments section, 1 to 10. 1, well, they made a mistake by drafting him, and 10, this is the franchise quarterback here to stay. Make sure you also hit that sub button. We got you with a preview later this week on the Titans versus the Texans, so you're not going to want to miss that. Hit that sub button, and as always, tighten up.